Hello! Welcome to my messy kitchen. I'm Zoe Rose, and today I'm going to be making a salad with a bunch of greens and potatoes, kind of like a bright, springy, greeny potato salad. But, the term potato salad conjures up a certain image that generally involves a lot of mayo, which I know this is a controversial statement, but I personally hate mayonnaise. I know, don't at me. Anyway, so this is a salad with potatoes. It is a potatoy salad. I don't know that it is a potato salad. So, not your grandma's potato salad. But yes, come on in, join me, and let's go ahead and get started. So I've got some beautiful Yukon Gold potatoes here. They're pretty small, so I'm probably just going to quarter them. I might cut a couple of them a little bit smaller. I'm going to go ahead and drop them directly into my pot here that I have fitted with my handy dandy steamer basket, which if you don't have one, I highly recommend. Or if you don't have a steamer, you can always just drop these potatoes in a pot of simmering water or boiling water. I would bring the water up to a boil first and then drop them in, just so you can keep a little bit of a better eye on the cook time. So some of these I'm doing in eighths, some in quarters, just kind of depending on size. I'm going for not too small, a good chunky bite size on these potatoes as one of the main ingredients in our salad. And with the steamer, I have just about an inch of water in the bottom underneath that. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these on the stove over medium-high heat and let them get steaming. Okay, so I've got my potatoes on the stovetop. I'm going to let them steam. Once the water starts boiling and the steam starts steaming, I'm going to probably check it the first time after about 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes, and then go from there. And you want a knife to insert in easily. You want the potato to be nice and tender, but not totally like falling apart and mushy. So, meanwhile, we are going to get the greens going for our spring green potato salad. So, the first thing I'm going to do is get into this cabbage. I have just a small green cabbage right here. I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise. And I'm probably going to end up using about a quarter of this. You can totally scale this recipe up or down. You can make a big batch for, for a dinner, for a bunch of people, for your family, or for a party, or you can downsize it for just yourself. The nice thing about this salad too is it will totally be better it will be just as good or better the next day. It's a great room temperature salad. It's a great one to like pack for lunch if you do something like that. So it's a great, really nice make-ahead dish that we'll definitely keep in the fridge. So what I have here is my mandolin, which is one of my favorite kitchen tools for salad making because it just makes thinly slicing things super fast and easy. If you don't have one of these, you can of course just use a knife and slice thinly. So yeah, I'm just going to start running my cabbage down here so it shreds really nicely. Also, if you have like a food processor, you could use like a grating blade on that, something like that. So yeah, like I said, I'm doing about a quarter of my cabbage. So a nice little pile here. I'm going to add that to my bowl. Okay, and then next I am going to add my kale. Okay, so to de-rib or to take the stem out of a piece of kale, you just hold it by the stem end, take your other hand, sometimes I kind of tear it a bit, just kind of loosely, and then just run it down, and the stem should just kind of tear off. Let's see, we can do another one. So yeah, you just pull the stem out basically and run your other hand down, grabbing out the leaf. And that is how you get these big tough stems out of your kale. And I like to keep these stems and use them. I personally actually keep a bag of vegetable scraps and kitchen scraps in my freezer, and then when it gets full, I make a nice broth for now I'm just gonna set these aside. Okay, now we've got our kale leaves. I'm gonna really thinly slice them using kind of a julienne or a chiffonade method. So I'm just gonna kind of stack these leaves up. And you can kind of roll them or bundle them. These are pretty thin, so they don't really need to be rolled. And I'm just gonna run my knife through, keeping my knuckles in contact with the blade. I'm just gonna run my knife down really thinly and kind of get these beautiful thin strands or strips of my kale. Okay, so now in my bowl I've got my kale, I've got my cabbage. Next I'm going to put a nice hefty pinch of salt or two in here and a big old squeeze of lemon. I don't know if you can hear my potatoes steaming away in the background. They're rattling the lid a little bit. Okay, so I've got my greens in here with some salt and lemon. And now I'm just going to take my hand and I'm just going to start kind of aggressively scrunching, is what I like to call this. Just really scrunching it together. This really helps the greens start to break down and relax just a little bit. The salt also helps pull some of their moisture out, which also helps them start to soften up a little bit. So give them a nice big scrunch. They're actually already really smelling delicious, just these greens with some lemon and salt on them. As I squeeze them, the kale and cabbage are smelling really tasty. So yeah, just give them a little bit of a good scrunch. Don't be afraid to get in there until they start to just soften up a little bit. Okay, now it's time to make our dressing. We're gonna make a super tangy, really flavorful dressing for this. I was kind of inspired by like a St. Patrick's Day type vibe, but of course, you know, dinner at midnight, hippie chick style, so very different than what you would normally find on a traditional Irish feast. But I did want to incorporate some stone ground mustard as the base of the dressing. Oops. So I'm going to put a healthy amount in there. I like to make my dressings in a mason jar or another jar with a tight-fitting lid. Honestly, it's just the lazy way because then I can just shake it all up and call it good. But of course, you can also make it in a bowl and whisk it up, whatever works for you. Okay, so I've got my mustard in there. I'm going to add a splash of apple cider vinegar as well. Really get that tang going. And I'm also going to add lemon. So I do like to combine vinegar and citrus in a dressing. It's just a nice layering of those tangy tart flavors and layering different acids together. Super yummy. I love tangy, I love acids, I love anything vinegar or citrus, so that's what I like to do. Okay, I'm gonna add some paprika. I'm actually gonna add a little bit of regular sweet paprika and some smoked paprika, which will give a little bit more of a smoky, spicy feel. You could totally just add one or the other, whichever you prefer, whatever you have on hand. So again, I want to make a pretty flavorful dressing, so I'm not going to be too shy with any of these ingredients. I want it to be super flavorful and give the salad a really tasty punch. So yeah, we did already salt the greens, so they've got a little bit seasoning, but we have all those potatoes and we're also going to add some beans, and those really need a lot of salt and a lot of flavor to liven them up. So we don't want to be shy on our seasoning. I'm going to add some fresh ground pepper as well, and then my favorite olive oil, and I'm going to give a good generous amount of that to balance things out. You can always add more, and I'm going to get this shaken up. Close tightly, of course. And again, you can do this, you can also do dressings in a blender is a really great way that I found, because I'm also putting my hand with a whisk. It's just a pain. It's just a pain. It's kind of annoying. I feel like it always like separates. So a jar is nice because you can just reshake it whenever it separates. The blender is a really great way to go too. Of course, then you have to clean the blender. But just depending on what feels easiest to you, that's always what I recommend. All right, and then once you have your dressing, I always like to taste my dressing on an ingredient that will be in the salad. So I've just got a little piece of cabbage here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Really nice, super tangy. I'm actually gonna add excuse me, I'm going to add a teensy bit more salt, a little bit more of all my spices here, just to liven it up a bit. Really recommend that you just taste as you go. I mean, that is really the biggest, like if I could just tell you one thing on your journey to become a better cook or learn to cook different things, is just taste everything, taste for seasoning, taste as you go. And you know, if it tastes a little bit flat, try adding a little bit more acid, lemon or vinegar, and salt. If it tastes overpowering, way too tangy, add oil. If it tastes a little bit out of balance, you can add your mustard, or a nice trick for just salad dressings and dressings in general is to add a little bit of like honey or sugar if things feel a little bit just like sharp and like they're just not coming together. A little bit of sweetness will do wonders to really bring flavors together. Okay, I'm gonna give it another little taste here. Let's see how we're doing. It's tasting really good. Super delicious. You can also add garlic to the dressing, which would be super delicious. You can add whole cloves of roasted garlic, which would be so good, really nice in the completed dish. You could do some grated or sliced garlic. Another trick I like to do for just more of a subtle hint of a garlic flavor is to just cut a clove of garlic in half and add it to my dressing. And then you wouldn't serve that. You would hold it, you know, keep it aside when you dress your salad, but it kind of infuses your dressing with just a little bit of a hint of garlic. I tend to go super overboard on garlic, so I'm going to skip it this time, but garlic would be a really beautiful addition to this salad and this dressing as well. Okay, so I've got my steamed potatoes here. I'm just going to take a slotted spoon and lift them directly into my bowl with the greens. So like I said, you want these to be nice and tender when you pierce them with a fork or knife, and they will, you know, start to fall apart a little bit as you mix them together, but that is perfectly all right. It's actually kind of nice in a potato salad when the edges of the potatoes kind of mix with the dressing and kind of give you this whole like creamy, potatoey vibe. And to be 100% honest, I think I might have overcooked mine a tiny bit, but no worries, they're still going to be super delicious. Okay, so I've got my hot potatoes all here in my bowl, and you do want to dress your potatoes when they are still nice and warm. For some reason, they just really absorb the dressing and the flavoring so beautifully, excuse me, when you dress them when they are still warm. Just gives a little bit of extra magic to the whole sitch. Okay, so I'm just gonna get to mixing. Mix this all together. Oh my gosh, it smells so fragrant. The vinegary and mustardy smell is wafting up from this warm potatoes. It smells so good. Okay, I've also got some butter beans here. This was from a can of butter beans that I rinsed well and drained well. These are these nice big chunky white beans. I'm gonna toss those in there for a little more heft. You can, if you don't like beans, of course you can always skip them. You can also use any kind of bean you like. I really like a white bean. It's really versatile in a lot of different salads. Just has a really kind of nice neutral vibe going, and goes with a lot of different flavors and whatnot. But any bean that you have around will do. French lentils are a really great bean for a salad because unlike other lentils that really easily break down into a stew, they hold their shape a lot better. So that would be a nice option here as well. Again, you could also add some roasted cloves of garlic at this stage. That would be super tasty. And yeah, you know me, add whatever you want, right? Cauliflower would be really nice in here as well. You could add in some steamed or roasted cauliflower at this stage. That would be really tasty. Back to the whole bean thing, you could also do green beans, some cut up into inch long pieces or bite-sized pieces of green beans would be really tasty in here, kind of add to the green springy vibe. So yeah, add anything you want, and it'll be great. Okay, so I'm getting close to my finishing touches. I'm gonna add some green onion or scallion. I love to just cut them right directly into the bowl with my trusty kitchen scissors. And I've got some parsley that I'm going to add as well. And again, you could go for any nice green herb that you've got handy. Chives would be great here. Any tender green herbs that you have would be totally great. So if you happen to have like basil, cilantro, anything like that, that would be super tasty here. Again, just cutting it in. I like to just, especially with this salad, it's just really kind of rustic and homey and hearty. So don't worry about the herbs being too fine or a little bit of stem getting in there. Just kind of cutting large leaves off directly on top. Okay, I'm also going to add a little bit more salt and another grind of pepper, because that's just how I roll. And my bowl's getting very full here, but I'm going to carefully mix everything together and give it a nice taste. All right, let's see how we did. Super tasty. Grab a pot. Okay, so I've got my nice platter here. This is my close-up angle. Still working on it. So I've got my nice platter here. I'm just going to spoon out this warm potato salad onto a platter. Super just like rustic home-style dish, which I absolutely love. At this point, you could add on any kind of protein that you wanted to. I have some of these kind of medium soft boiled or kind of jammy eggs that I had in the refrigerator. So I'm going to add a couple of those on there just for a little bit more protein. And it kind of goes with the whole like springtime, springy vibe as well. But yeah, a sausage would be really nice here, like any kind of sausage, maybe a bratwurst or whatever sausage of your choosing. Just lay across the platter at this point would make a really nice presentation, especially for dinner. You could also, of course, cut sausage up and spread it on top or mix it in. This was, like I said, kind of loosely inspired by St. Patrick's Day, so you could also do like some corned beef or roast beef or anything like that would be really nice on here. Or, of course, you know, really, again, anything you've got on hand. I love using up leftovers, especially protein, on top of a salad, right? So some roast chicken or anything like that. For a vegan twist with a little bit more protein, you could definitely marinate some tofu in that dressing that we made. Just make extra. Get some nice cubed tofu marinated in there, and that would be really beautiful in here as well. So yeah, I'm going to add a little bit more of my scallion on top because I can never resist doing that. Just make it look kind of fancy. Even a nice rustic, very homey, home-style dish like this. I love to just add herbs on top. It just feels really fun. And then a little bit of pepper on top of everything. And I'm going to do a final drizzle of my olive oil as well. Just really nice, especially on top of those eggs. All right, and there it is, my beautiful spring green potato salad. Again, this is wonderful served warm immediately after making. It's also great the next day if you can pull it out of the refrigerator a little bit before serving so you can bring it up to room temp. That's nice. Yeah, great to pack for lunch or anything like that. A great make-ahead meal. Let me know if you give it a try. Let me know what you think of it. Drop a comment below. Let me know what kind of salad you'd love to see me make next or any questions or comments. The written recipe for this will be on my blog, which is dinneratmidnight.com. I'm on Instagram @dinneratmidnight, and you can hashtag all your salads, salad at midnight, so we can all share salad inspiration all year round. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. From my messy kitchen to yours, I will see you next time.